Warning, there will be spoilers for The Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 22. If you haven't watched it, proceed with caution. Okay, that's my impression of Peter Griffin doing the theme to The Mandalorian. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Sorry for that. Before I really get into it, let's have a moment of praise that the war between the Mon Calamari and the Quarren is over. Yay. Okay, that's enough. In a past video, I asked the question, who is the Mandalorian? Is it Djarin, as the story is focused on him for the previous 2 seasons, or is it someone else? But we have to look at the title again to answer that question. The show is called The Mandalorian, not a Mandalorian, not plainly Mandalorian, and not the Mandalore, which is the leader of all Mandalorians, and it's not titled The Bounty Hunter. It's The Mandalorian, ambiguously stating that it's about a specific Mandalorian, and that Mandalorian is undoubtedly Din Djarin. But what does that mean for his character? Does it mean he should lead because he is the title character, or is it a story of the adventures of this Mandalorian as he helps secure the leadership role for someone else? Well, looks like those questions may have just been answered in the latest episode of The Mandalorian Season 3. I've made a couple different claims as to who the Mandalore should be or could be or would be. Yeah, in my last video on this subject, I said it should be Boba Fett. Why? Well, that's where Legends put the OG Mandalorian armor-wearing bounty hunter, and with the imminent return of Grand Admiral Thrawn, it seems that could still be a possibility, eventually, if you know the Legends stories. But I also made another claim. I said that it would be Bo-Katan Kryze in the immediate timeline. I based that idea on clues I've seen throughout The Mandalorian Season 3 so far. After 2 years, Din Djarin still can't wield the Darksaber properly. Bo-Katan uses it with ease. Sure, she had it before and learned a thing or two, probably had a little bit of training even. But they were showing us that Din Djarin almost cut his leg off with the Darksaber for a reason. And I've said it so many times that I was getting tired of hearing myself talk. There's a lot to get through regarding The Mandalorian Chapter 22, but before I go on, a quick word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a stupid thumbs up. I'm on a voyage to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that journey. I know every freaking YouTube channel asks for your subscription, but mine's special. Why? Because it's freaking Star Wars, baby, and I absolutely promise to deliver on my word. With me, you'll get the best Star Wars content YouTube has to offer, and I'll deliver it in a way that's fun and engaging, and all original content. No rehashes of what other channels talk about. If you're looking for someone to bore you to sleep, I'm not that guy. But if you want to have fun in the Star Wars universe again, you're in the right place. With that said, let's get back to The Mandalorian. The title character of The Mandalorian doesn't have to be the leader. There, I said it. I know a lot of people won't like that. It's a hard fact to face. I mean, The Lion King is about the main character becoming the king of the Pride Lands, a lion. But The Mandalorian isn't titled The Mandalorian King. That doesn't mean he isn't the main character, and it also doesn't mean he can't be the Mandalore in the future sometime. I just tend to think of it more as he is the Mandalorian who set everything into motion. Din Djarin is responsible for helping bring honor back to the Mandalorian people. He just didn't have any interest in leading the entire nation. Bo-Katan, on the other hand, was born and raised for the role, but it isn't going to end at her. I'll leave that train of thought alone for another video. But there are some other things to get through in this latest episode of The Mandalorian before I return to the subject of Bo-Katan and Din Djarin. The first being that Jack Black is in the show. He plays Captain someone or another. Don't worry, I'll remember his name at some point. Next up, we have Lizzo as Jack Black's wife. Together, they run an independent world recognized as sovereign by the New Republic. But being that Jack Black is a former Imperial, the world isn't permitted to have a state-run military. So they hire the help of Bo-Katan Kryze's former Night Owls, led by ex-Woves. In order to provide an utopian society for the inhabitants, former Imperials rebellion, and separatist droids have been reprogrammed to perform everyday functions, allowing the citizens to relax and enjoy their lives without the stress of work or getting up early to go to work. Utopia sounds more like seeing the light. Where's this planet again? The first ship available. I'm packing up my family and heading to it. I'm sure I can make YouTube channels from there, so I won't leave you guys abandoned. Anyways, this brings us to the head of security and the one responsible for programming the droids, Christopher Lloyd. It's long been confirmed that good old Doc Brown would be gracing the presence of the Mandalorian, but as soon as his casting was confirmed, there were so many theories out there as to who he would be portraying. Yeah, there are so many rumors out there about it that it can make your head spin and make you throw up even. I stay away from that one. Why? Because I really learned my lesson from trying to speculate that Sophie Thatcher was going to portray Boba Fett's daughter, Aelin Vel, in the Book of Boba Fett. But hey, that could still happen. No, it won't. So now I stay away from guessing who certain actors will play in Star Wars when no clues have been presented. The Christopher Lloyd rumors ranged from his coming on board to play a rivaling Mandalorian chieftain to bringing Fenn Rau to live action, and even that he could be Bo-Katan's father. That one confuses me. Duke Adonai Kryze, who we know died before the Clone Wars animated series. Not saying these were ridiculous claims. I mean, we didn't see his body, and isn't that what people say? No body, no death? Well, I'm sorry that none of those theories worked out, but I still think he was a good addition to The Mandalorian by way of making him an antagonist, something we don't see too much of Christopher Lloyd. It's usually some goofy fella. Like me, I'm a little goofy. It was good to see a lot of familiar Star Wars-y things in this episode. The Imperial Death Star droid, who I thought for a second would be AP-5 from Star Wars Rebels. It was a nice touch. Then there was the B-1 and B-2 battle droids. Good stuff. And even though this episode was reminiscent of The Mandalorian Season 2, where Djarin must rescue villagers, it tied to the overall story rather quickly and didn't linger in the side mission too long. It was apparent from the beginning that this was going to tie into the story of Bo-Katan's Night Owls. I mean, they were in the opening scene. Duh! And how about Casca Reeves returning, even after Sasha Banks, Mercedes Kestner Vernado, or whatever her real name is, said that she wouldn't be returning? I knew that was a lie. Looks like we have to bring Boba Fett back now, if for nothing else other than to kick Casca Reeves' ass in a rematch. Yeah, I said that too. He needs to put a thumping on her that she wouldn't soon forget. Treat my man Boba Fett like that. Crazy ass. Anyways, but that brings me back to the final scene of the episode. Bo-Katan challenges Axe Woves for the leadership of the Night Owls. She beats him like a piñata, then still isn't recognized as any kind of leader by them. Why? Because it looks like the ones who called the Children of the Watch extremists are extremists themselves. Anyone catch that irony? I mean, the dude, Axe Woves, said Din Djarin was one of them when they first met in Season 2. Now he's saying he isn't one of them, a Mandalorian. Look, brother, the Mandalorian creed is all about accepting outsiders into the Mandalorian society, as long as they take the creed. Then there's the throwaway line, just as our ancestors did, spoken by Bo-Katan when talking about their ancestors taking the Mandalorian creed. Anyone else pick up on the hint that the Taung may become canon? At least that's what I read into it. The end result of the match is, as I said, Bo-Katan didn't challenge Din Djarin for the Darksaber. He didn't have to lose his honor by throwing a fight. He handed it over willingly because he knew it didn't belong to him. But that brings in a whole host of other problems. Let me take in a deep breath. Okay, sound like I got asthma. Anyways, okay, his rationale was that he was defeated by the Skill Crane robot in the mines of Mandalore. Bo-Katan then defeated said weird droid, and now the Darksaber belongs to her. Sounds plausible. But that also means that anyone holding the Darksaber who gets defeated, the champion of said fight, gets the Darksaber. Hello, Palpatine defeated Maul when Maul had the Darksaber, if you don't want to count that, okay? Ahsoka Tano defeated Maul. Don't want to count that. Ezra stole the Darksaber. Don't want to count that. After Ezra stole it, Obi-Wan defeated Maul. But here we are. Bo-Katan Kryze once again gets a shot to lead the Mandalorian people. But for those who say she's dishonorable or that she doesn't deserve it, Bo-Katan has learned a lot of hard lessons since she lost the Darksaber to Moff Gideon. She was never really a dishonorable Mandalorian neither. She acted stupid as a teen, but was reformed and only wanted the best for Mandalorians after that. What'd you think of the episode, though? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I do read all comments and try to respond to as many as I can, so keep them coming. You are noticed and appreciated. That's all I have for now. I'm sure I'll make several other videos on this episode of The Mandalorian, but before I go, another quick word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a like. I'm really trying to hit that 50,000 subscriber mark, and I'd like you all to be a part of the next phase of this channel. The YouTube algorithm is more difficult than trying to move stuff with my mind, but together we can conquer this YouTube algorithm. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. Until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching. And remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars community should be the only way.